Swimming Pool International, the Swimming Pool Podcast.
A warm welcome to our International Swimming Pool Podcast. In front of me sits Angela Herrmann, International Sales Manager at Banker Manufacturing in Germany.
And in front of me sits Michael Fisser, Export Manager at Flovo Schmalenberger from Tübingen in Germany. Hi, Michael.
How are you today?
Oh, very well. I had a great sleep, so that's the base of everything. And actually, I'm looking out of the window here and I see big, I don't know if it's ferries or big ships. It's a super beautiful sight. So guess where we are?
We are actually in Sweden. We are sitting here with Mille and August Örnmark from the We Group in Gothenburg. And we have some interesting topics to cover. And welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice meeting you again. And we've read and heard a lot about the company We Group, which is very well known in Europe, I could say. And we are very interested in the history of the company, how it started, what made you set up this company. And tell me a little bit more about this, please, Mille.
A long story it could be then, but I try to keep it as short as possible. In 1984, I was recruited into electronic company who were building measurement instruments for water. And they were doing it for pool water and potable water and environmental water also. And after just a couple of years, it developed, so it started to be an installation company for public pools. And that company is still working. It's the company Enviro today. I'm really proud of the development of the company, even if I'm not a part of it any longer. We were a small company in the 80s and struggled against other bigger companies here in this region. And by a lot of work, it developed to be the biggest company in Sweden for that. Some of the other companies have disappeared by bankruptcy or they've been going in retirement or something like that. In the 90s, I left this industry and went over to a stock exchange company working with environmental questions all over the world. And I was entitled to be one of the representatives of good environment thinking in the 90s, working in South America, in South Europe, here up in the northern countries, of course, and United States. Not Asia so much, a little bit, but not so much. And in the end of the 90s, we made a management buyout of this company, together with some changes in the stock exchange and new owners in the company. And we transformed it in the 14th of November 1999 into a consultant company for environmental and pool business. And there we are today. We have developed that we started with only engineers. Today it is architects, engineers, economists, almost social workers, I should say. And we have developed, so we, in the 2010 era, what I know, we were the biggest consultant company in this field in the world. And of course, we were the biggest in Sweden. In the 2019, 2020, the market changed a little bit, and today I would guess it is 10 companies of our structure in the market of the Swedish market. And we work 80% we do is in Sweden, and then 20% in other countries. So we work in Norway, we have been working in Thailand, in Russia, in Finland, Denmark, and Austria.
Maybe you can tell us a bit what you do, like where you start with the work and the whole process of what you actually are doing.
Yeah, so we are basically a project management office for bath facilities. So it could be a spa or a wellness or a commercial public pool and so on. And everything starts with the feasibility study. So you do a pre-study for the project. We want to see the current situation of the location, or if you have a bathhouse or something like that. You do a needs and assessments. You do a market assessments, and then you know what type of facility the customer needs. And after that, you go and do sketches and price assessments for the project. And then you see the net operation of the facility. So basically, you're getting the market of what are you supposed to build to accommodate the needs for maybe the municipality or the customer in hand. After that, we go into the program documentation, which is more architectural designs, where it's supposed to be located, how big it's supposed to be. You look a little bit more of the technical parts, what square meters do you need to make the installations and so on. And after that, you go into the project planning documents, which means you do a lot of LCCs and LCAs. You look at the product. You have a 25 times 12.5 meters pool. You need to check how is it supposed to be run, how it's supposed to be the lifespan of it, how long is the facility going to stay. So you know how many filters you're gonna have, you know how you're gonna do with the pumpings, and you know how you're gonna do with the construction of the pool as well. After that, we go into detailed project planning, which is the planning of how it's supposed to get built, that the constructor can take and build after. And it's everything from construction, architecture, installations, and so on, heating, water, ventilation, electricians, and everything in between. When we've done that part, we're going into subcontractors. So we are finding the contractors that are going to do the contract. Often we do it in a public tender. So we go out, ask the market, come in with a price, and we find out which one is going to make the installation. Either we go for general, or we go in divided constructions. So either we go with one, or we can go with 32. Depends on the customer's goals for the project. And then we go into the construction part. We have the establishment. Everybody comes there, maybe 100, 200 people works at the site. We're doing the construction, and then the facility is done. We cut the bands off, and we're planning on how are we going to work with this facility, how are we going to establish a renovation, and so on for it.
If I may go back a little bit to the beginning, especially the very first part.
The first part, yeah.
When perhaps it's sales people of your company that visit a potential client, how does this go? Do they together sit in a room and say, okay, we have this pool, we are thinking of having some water features there, we want the 50 meters, it needs to be suitable for teaching swimming, for instance. How does this decision process go with a client? Because eventually, in the end, it's the client that is the decisive factor, I assume.
It will be divided. If it's a renovation of a facility, then it's not so much more to do than look at the laws, because then we have to fulfill the new laws. Were maybe built in the 1960s, and it have a lifespan of 40 to 50 years. After that, it's used, so to speak. So if in that situation, and that is not the huge amount normally, it is new facilities, and then it is often that they have an idea, the politicians, what they want to fulfill. Of course, they want to fulfill learning of swimming. That is number one. And then the next is getting the people to be healthy, to exercise and be in the movement of doing something. And according to checkups the branch association is doing each year, about 54% of the inhabitants go to the public pool at least one time a year. 54%. Number two is the libraries, 27%. So it is more people going to the public swimming hall here in Sweden than they do anything else together. If they have a lot of older people, then they want some relaxation. They want a spa, maybe you call it relax, we call it, that's saunas and having time together. If we have integration, a need of big integration, then it will be a family bath. Then it will be attraction, slides, and so on. But the basic is still the need of learning to swim and getting people to exercise. And then we have the sport coming in here. The sport is using the facilities, depending on the region, 7 to 11% of the visitors are sport people, the swimmers. And if they have a big volume of people in the sport, it will be more sporty. Then it could be a 50 meters pool or something like that, depending on how high voices the sport organizations have. That will deflect what the politicians want. When we get all that material, we have numbers how to calculate, for example, the changing rooms. It is not the same changing room for each facility. It's depending on how they are going to use it. If it is a baby swimming, for example, then we need special areas for that. If it is the swimmers, then we can get it much more narrow. So no project is like the next project, because it's depending on what the politicians want to get in there. And if they have been doing their job, they have been asking the inhabitants what they want. The only problem is that they normally go and ask them who are using the old facility, and the only thing that you will know then is what's not okay in that facility. So they should be in IKEA or the supermarket or something like that and ask all the people. But still, I understand the politicians, 54% of the inhabitants are using the facility, so they are quite satisfied with what they get.
But that means there could be a difference between municipalities that have more older people,
Yes.
than where it's more the younger generations. It will have effect on the design of the facility.
The big part is in it is that customer that is ordering a bathhouse don't know what they are ordering because they've never done it before. So the important part for us that's done this 300 times or something like that is the market analysis. You go in and you watch what is the competition around, even for a municipality. So if they have a lot of water slides over there, maybe we're not going to have water slides, maybe we're going to have a wave pool instead or something like that, so you can attract people. And what Mille is saying as well is every stage of the pool facility is to get used to the water, so you are able to swim. And in Sweden, we are doing it with attractions. We are doing it with 25 times 12.5 pools, and so on and so on. So it's supposed to bring people to the water so they are comfortable when they are entering it. And you can do it in a water slide, and you can do it by swimming. So the market analysis is the part where you decide what type of facility is it going to be. Then you go into the project planning documents and the detailed project planning, where you decide you're actually gonna get this type of attraction, maybe a cobra or something like that.
So you can really convince also, when you have done this analysis, you can convince and say, maybe here it would be better to do more, as you said, more water slides or more attractions, because people would be, they would more take this than just go swimming, for example, right?
And for a company like us, we are not partial of the installation, because we are consultants. So when we are telling them it's a good part for you to bring this to the facility, we don't make any money of saying that. It's a good thing, and we are not living in the municipality, so we are not partial to I want a water slide or I want a wave pool or something like that. It's something that I'm probably not even going to visit, because Sweden is approximately 1,600 k's long. So
compared to Holland with 400.
yeah.
But today we need to remember that the society is changing, and we were doing mostly of the facilities in Sweden in after wartime, up to 1975. Today, together with the everybody is afraid of it's going to be too much cost for inhabitants to live on each site, but still we need to learn to swim. So what we believe it's going to be pool in the future. It will be standardized, it will be smaller, it will just fulfill the need that they really need to do. The other parts with the slides and so on will probably disappear.
Not disappear, but it will take less space.
We have the need of having, if we should go back to the 1980s in Sweden, we have today 392 public pools. Norway have 840 public pools, but they are smaller. And Finland has about 320 public pools. This 392 in 1980s was 15,000 inhabitants per pool. Today it is 27,000 inhabitants per pool. So what we have to do is building more, and all of the old facilities is 80% is above 40 years old. And the total amount of pools who should be built in Sweden is 610, I believe the figure is, if I should go back to the 15,000 inhabitants per pool. But it's only 68 of these who need to be X-large, where we have the 50 meters, or we have the slides or the wave machines or something like that. The rest of them, the 550, really needs just a pool for education, exercise, and the swimmers to develop. It is fantastic when we make an Olympic and we get the gold medal, so we still want to be there. We are good swimmers in Sweden. The Norwegian normally say, Swedes are born with swim paddles. Norwegians are born with skis.
Right. Then, yeah.
You actually said something when we were talking before. You said something very beautiful, I thought, because you said in a pool, everybody meets on an equal level. No, so you can talk to people on an equal level. There's no distinction. This is one thing I thought it was a nice thing, to say that a pool is really a good place where people meet. And the other question I have is, you were talking about history, which I found very interesting. What is actually the biggest change? Because you can see a little bit back to today. What do you think is the biggest change in this kind of field?
The biggest change today is that the communities don't have money to develop. They just have to fulfill. So what we were doing in the 80s and 90s with building palaces of pools will not be there in the future. It will go back and will not be as nice to go to. So maybe we are not going to get 54% of the inhabitants to go to the pool. It will maybe go down to 40%, but still they will learn to swim. And as long as we learn to swim, we are saving money each day.
Why is that? I know why, because you
Yeah.
explained, but maybe say it again. What's
The reason
interesting?
is quite simple. Drowning has a direct cost for the society of 700,000 euros. One drowning. That is the cost of the society to take care of that. And if I have 2,000 people drowning, then you can calculate quite fast how much money that will be in the society cost. And if you go the other way and you take away that, that's an alternative cost. And that was something we were really good at in the 70s and 80s to calculate. If we could get people not to kill each other, shoot on each other or whatever, destroying facilities, what could we do with that money and what could we use to do that? And we did do that. We were doing that quite well. Unfortunately today, I don't believe a politician knows about alternative cost.
Mhm.
They only know about cost. What you find in when we are in the process of building something, if today the society have problem with the sewage treatment plants. They were built in the 60s and 70s, so they are old, and the amount of people have been more, and the cost of building a sewage treatment plant today is between 100 to 150 million euros. That's the cost. To build a pool facility with slides and who is interesting for the 54% to visit, the cost is about 40 to 50 million euros. The day they talk about building something for 150 million euros, you will see a small notice in the press and nobody is taking notice about it. It will cost 150 million euros and nobody is talking about that. It's because they are not interested, they are not visiting it or anything. And then the next day we will build a swimming facility for 40 million euros. And that will be page up and page down of people commenting if this is correct, is it, are we using the money in the correct way, and so on. So what we understand is that people love pools. And we should always remember that, because then it's an interesting market we are into, because we're doing something for the society.
Well, and so like you said, the spending is a lot less, which we see across Europe, of course. But one other thing that really fascinates me in the chain that you support is the business development part of it. Is that where you also advise your client how you can run the pool, how to make money, how to get at least break even on costs?
Yeah.
How does this work? Is this on things like energy consumption and things like that as well? Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit?
So-
Just one thing. You can never get the cost and the income to be in the same level. It will always be a higher cost than the income you get from it when you talk about direct income. You need to have the alternative cost income. Then it will be profitable at once.
Food and beverage, hotel nights, and so on. You can't make money just for the bathhouse. You can't just put a bathhouse and think you're going to make a lot of money. You need to have everything else around it. So that's what he's saying. So, but basically for us, it's when you're going into the planning, you're doing the market analysis to see if the product is good. You're having the right type of pools, the right type of attractions, and so on. Mille has an explaining that just if you put in a water slide with a loop, you're actually going to make money in the marketing way, because everybody else is going to market you that you have a loop. So it's a lot of those things that you look at as well. But if you're going into the facility, you are looking at how we are going to construct the house and the pools, and see how we can make it efficient with isolations, with windows, with the concrete, or what type of installation you're going to make. And then you go in for the installation, and the installation in a bathhouse is basically like a body. Everything needs to work together. You can't have a good heart, bad lungs. Then it's not going to work. So it's the same with the bathhouse. You need to have the water treatment good, and the ventilation good, and the energy consumption good, and so on. And you need to build it together like a big heating pump to make the most out of it. And if you're able to do it in a good way, you're actually gonna save money in the long run, because you're going to get a facility that is going to work a longer lifespan instead of a shorter one, because we have a lot of chemicals, we have a lot of heat, we have a lot of moisture and stuff in the air. Then you're actually also going to save money in the energy consumption, because the water needs heating and the ventilation needs heating as well. So in the installation part is actually a big part here in Sweden. It's a big part in Europe, basically. But in Sweden, we are actually really good at it. We are looking at it in a different perspective, because the customer, the municipality or who it is actually putting the project to be able to do the best installation able. So when I go in with my team to do the planning for the installation, they are actually asking me, do the best you can do, instead of save me as much money as you can do.
I can add one thing is that people not normally think about. We are up in the north. We have been having the winters of design temperature minus 25 degrees the last 100 years, probably 1,000 years. But as long as we have been industrial doing things. And together with that, we have already solved a lot of environmental issues with our buildings that you probably a little bit south of Sweden and Norway and Finland are working with as new inventions. When I'm down listening to your professors and so on, and they talk about we have been doing this, and I'm fluently speaking of German, so I normally translate when I have a group. And all of a sudden I understand he's talking about something we were doing 30 years ago. Because if we haven't been doing that, the facilities should have been closed.
Yeah, because the southern part of Sweden is the warmest part of Sweden, and that's the northest part of Germany. so it's a little bit different how we design and how we are working with it. But the big part is you need to look at everything. You can't just look at one particular part. And the architect needs to do a good facility, because people needs to enter the facility. We need to fill it up. Otherwise, everything is down the drain.
Yes, exactly.
You said like when you look at the things, you take the best products, right? And my question would be, how do you choose these best products? How do they are specified? How does it work?
So when we are looking at what type of installation we need to do, first hand we need to see how are we going to make this work together. It doesn't mean that we need some specific brand or anything like that. We just need to see the total installation at the beginning. What are the architects trying to accomplish? What are the end customer feeling of the facility, and then the installation needs to work with this. So that's the first part. So just see how are the installations going to be. The second part is basically how long of a lifespan does the installation need to have. So if we are going to make a facility that's we are planning on, we are going to do a renovation, or we are going to rebuild it, or we are going to expand it or something like that, we maybe want 10, 15 years or something like that. That's one part. And then we have another part that is this is going to be for eternity. Like you understand, it doesn't work like that, but they are feeling that it's going to work for 25, 30, 35 years. Then we need to look at different products. So what we know is it's the toughest environment for us to put in something. We have the chlorine. It's going to hurt the product, so we need to have the right quality, the right thickness, and so on. And we know that it's a lot of energy and to make this facility work. And then we need to look at how good is the product for what it's going to do. That's basically it. So the right materials and the right product in the right place.
For the situation you are planning for.
But it's a continuous development also. Remember the Trechloramine we found really in the facilities in 2001. We were the first European country who found it as a problem. The visitors were throwing up, the people working there were throwing up, and everything there, doing a lot of measurements, and it took a year to find out this is Trechloramine. Then we were getting a development of products because of that. And then we also, up here in the north, they made a huge mistake of building physics. They were not doing the ventilation enough. For example, in Germany, you have a technical paper that states that 30% of the ventilation should be fresh air, outdoor air. In Sweden, we were running zero air. We believed that the air was good enough internally, and it was German company really who was running that. And that was just to save money, because you didn't understand that you were putting alive people into a building who went out to be a gas chamber instead. So today, when we read the law, what we have to do and so on, it's not allowed to do that way. So we are still developing the technology each day, I would say. And that will affect also the choice of products.
Yeah.
So
and you have mentioned you have very strict laws of the water quality, which we don't even have in Germany like that.
No, you don't have it in Germany. Good enough, I always say the German law states.
So in Sweden we have laws for the water quality and the ventilation quality, basically. Then we have some laws that stipulates how the ventilation is supposed to work, how the heating are supposed to work, and how the isolation is supposed to be able to resist, and so on as well. But basically it's what they are looking at when the facility is done. They are looking at the water and the ventilation.
And nowadays I would assume also like in Germany in particular, heating up the pools is becoming, since you are such a, let's say, cold country, energy consumption on heating up or keeping the pools at the right temperature, especially private pools, isn't a topic here at all. In Germany, they said last year between for private pools, but it's just to make a picture of the issue. You could not warm up your pool between, let's say, October and March, which led to many new potential homeowners, homeowners who wanted a pool to say, okay, I will not do this, because if I invest such a sum of money and in a year from now we cannot heat up the pool at all, I have nothing back from my investment. Is this a topic at all?
No, not. Yeah, we have the same problem. We are not building as many pools, private pools any longer. But the reason is not the legislation that we are not allowed to heat it up and so on, because that's your money. You can do what you want with your money. That's a little bit of German. Don't touch my home. My home is
My castle.
that's my castle. But what happened is a lot of when I go to a dinner today, if I tell my neighbor I bought a new car with petrol, he will look at me as I'm an idiot. He don't know shit about electrical cars, but he believes, because in the media it have told them that electrical car is good. He didn't ask me how long I'm going to drive this car. If I give him the answer, I will drive it 500,000 kilometers before I put it away. Then all of a sudden, if he can calculate, he will understand, yes, that's an environmental friendly car with petrol. But he just believes he's going to run it for 80,000 kilometers, and then he will throw it away to the next one. To buy a private pool today is a little bit the same situation. The neighbor don't appreciate that you are doing that, because everybody understand if I'm using more energy, I'm going to put more energy in the air, and I will be a part of the guys who destroy the earth. Yes. And I don't want to go into that topic, but that's the situation. And also the cost of energy have risen. So to run the facility, we get the problem. But of course, we are as the rest of Europe. We have a lot of water, but some areas we don't have that amount of water, of fresh water. So then it's not allowed to fill the pools. So where I live 60 kilometers south of Gothenburg. There on this Friday they stopped. You are not allowed to put water on the garden. You are not allowed to fill the pool. We have not been allowed to wash the cars for a long time, so that we don't have to put in there. But we are not allowed to use water for anything else than surviving.
That's
and
surprising.
Showering, so I'm fresh.
I thought that would be the problem in Spain.
It
Or in
is, but
south
it's
of
local.
France, or-
It's local. It's depending on how much they have developed the water treatment facility, how much water they can take out from that. And we have a problem. We were 8 million people 1980. We are 11 million people today. And I don't believe that they have expanded the water plants, the sewer plants, and so on with 30%. I guess they are in the same situation as the pool is. So it's nothing funny with that. And then it's more legislation if they are allowed to take out that groundwater. We have as many groundwater lakes as we have lakes above. Here in Sweden. We have more lakes in Sweden than they have in Finland. People believe that Finland is more, but we have more. I think it's 120,000 lakes. And these lakes are not connected to the groundwater. And the groundwater is not connected to each other. So, but it depends on where they are allowed to take out that water.
Mm-hmm.
But the legislation of not filling the pool or watering the garden is a shorter span than it is in Spain. So maybe it's for him, he can't water his plants for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks or something like that. Then he can start watering them once more.
Now I just really feel so sorry about you, because you were like the country of what we see of wellness, you know, like we really see you had sauna, you're always there. And kind of like this kind of, I really didn't know that about this, but leads us to the question, because we wanted to talk a little bit about the wellness also into the pool. That you are really actually a big market of all these wellness features, right?
Yeah, so it's when you're getting into the project, you are looking at how you're going to do the attraction in the product. So basically, you're always going to have somewhere where you can swim and you can train. So it's maybe 25 times 12.5. You're going to have an education So maybe a pool with a movable floor or something like that. And then you're gonna have some type of attraction. And then you are looking at what kind of people do we want to attract? The small ones, maybe 1-year-olds up to 3, 4, and then we are looking at how we're going to attract the 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7, 8, 9, and then how we're going to attract above that. So that's how we decide. So maybe getting just a small kids pool, and you're going to have the attractions in that one, or you're going to do more of a family pool. So you're getting a canal, you're getting like a cobra, you're getting massage nozzles and stuff like that. And that's just the attraction parts, the bringing people to the water. And everything is fun when you're working with that. It's always fun.
It's a little bit also you were into that we are trying to advise our customers how to use the facility. And if we have 100% usage of a public pool facility, that is 108 hours a week. That is what the maximum we can get out. If they want to have it 108 hours a week, then they have to add things that attract people on time where it's not normal. So it is adding into the 108 hours. If you're a good politician, you want to get out 100% effect of your investment. That is 108 hours a week. And then it's not good enough with a 25-meter pool. That will not be 108 hours usage.
So if I would go with my family, I wouldn't just go to a 25 meters pool. I want something else. I want something to splash around and happening and water slide or massage or anything like that. So it's a cultural thing that we are working with it, and it's there. It's always there in every project. So you're always discussing it in every project. How are we going to do the attraction for this kind of facility? And then money talks.
Okay, so then I was a little bit under the wrong impression. I actually also talked about this topic with my wife, and she said, I said, wellness is much more a thing in Swedish pools than it's anywhere in the world, in my opinion, in public pools. So she asked me, does it have anything to do with the Swedish traditional things with saunas and stuff like we don't have? But now I understand it's also very much an economical decision.
Yeah.
Fulfilling these 108 hours or so it's not just about Swedish people loving wellness so much more. It is about return on investment.
Yeah.
People don't know this, but in Germany, we go to Germany to experience saunas.
Really?
Because Germany have much better saunas than we have. We have the sauna as a cultural thing at home.
Right.
In our facility, our house and so on, in the 60s and 70s, you couldn't build a private house without a sauna.
Yeah.
You really needed that. But that was a bench, 3 persons sitting there. It was hot and we were sweating. It was.
But you had some fun.
No. Yeah, but I will not go into what fun I had in saunas.
No, really, no. But
No. But in the public pools, that's a quite big decision, because you also believe that we Swedes like to be naked and so on. No. We are afraid for that. We want to have a lot of clothes on us if it's male and female in the same situation. That's only when we have been drinking a lot we will be naked.
Right.
so all prejudice.
Yeah, so I believe you are much better in Germany than we are. And you have developed it much more. But what we are doing with it is more of the physician question, the medicine question about saunas. There we know much more, and we know that taking a sauna is equal to go out running. It's, for the body, it's the same thing.
But the cultural part, as we talked about earlier, Sweden is really, really long. We got the Arctic climate up north. There is more of a cultural thing. There is always going to be some kind of sauna for that part. So that's what the end customer is expecting it to be.
And does this also mean that up north they put more attractions, water features in the pools than in the south?
No, but for the sauna is more important there. The sauna is always going to get installed one way or another. Basically, if it's just going to be a 16 times 4 meter pool, you're gonna build in the sauna as well.
But it's not a relaxation part. It's a sauna. It's a hygienic sauna. So it's two different things.
So you think like in Germany we have more different kinds, no? There are
Yeah,
all kinds of saunas.
Yeah, and you have it as something you want to go to. In Sweden, you go to the sauna to get clean.
In
Okay.
Germany, I went to sauna, which I think it's called Backa-Backa-Brötchen.
Backa-Backa-Brötchen.
You go in,
Backe Brötchen.
you go
genau.
inside and you sit in a hot oven. Someone comes in with a piece of bread. They are cooking the bread and then they are serving the bread.
Therme Erding in Munich have that.
It's incredible, but that's an attraction.
Yeah,
It's not
special.
it's not the sauna, just the sauna. It's something else besides just the sauna. So
One other thing I would also like to ask you is something I noticed on your website, which is called certification. Comparing pools with others for the clients. The way you say it is our certification service means that you get a comparison between your pool and other swimming facilities and a picture of how well your business and operation compared to others. And then you have a certain certification standard for this. I assume you do this before when you are doing the business development plan. I didn't really understand.
I think Google Translate did it a little bit wrong.
No,
It's not a certification like a certification from the government or something like that. It's I think the part of that is more that we can go inside to a facility and look how good is your facility, comparison to how many people is going to visit it, what does the people actually want, what they are expecting, and so on. So if you have an old facility and you're going to renovate it, maybe you can do some small changes to get the traction more to the facility and something like that. So I think Google Translate hurt us a little bit on that translation.
But you have one more thing, and that is we are inspecting facilities that they are fulfilling the EN standard 15288-2.
Yes, that's what it says.
Yeah, and that we do, and then they get a certificate that they are fulfilling that. So if there will be an accident or something, they can show we are following the European norm of safety. And normally the media goes home then, because if the media want to find someone who have made a failure, so they can blame someone. And if you have this checked up, that you are fulfilling it, you have control of your staff, you have control of your equipment and so on, that's what we do. So we have some facilities who have fulfilled that, and the people are more satisfied, the owners are more satisfied, and the owners is always communities here in Sweden.
Yes, and I understand that. And then one other question I have, which is not, which I also found very typical of Scandinavia, or Sweden, I should say. In many European countries, people are afraid to put stainless steel in, like cobras, like water curtains. They just don't do it. They go for
Carbon fiber.
Carbon fiber.
Yeah.
Is there a specific reason for water features and attractions, or is it just looks nice, or is it more hygienic? Is there something behind it?
It's a good product if you're doing it right.
Yes.
So it's a really, really good product if you're doing it right. And doing it the right way is that you are using the right materials. That's the first part. And the other part is that you are doing the installation really good, so you're not getting it in contact with some other materials and stuff like that, so it starts to corrode. And then you take care of the product as well. But it's a hard installation because you need to be really thorough when you're doing the installation. So the contractor that's going to do the installation, they really need to understand what they are doing. And the facility also really needs to understand what they are doing with the product as well. So they are not bringing in some other products to the water and stuff, that you're getting the corrosion because you are having weights that are black metal and you're putting it down on the floor or something like that. Then it starts to corrode. So it's a really good product if you are, you know what you are doing and you are doing the installation in the right way.
And a good example of that was we were using the United States standard 316L for material. That's a lousy standard because it's so wide that you can do different kind of stainless steel into that standard. So now we have new standards, European standards, that are more narrow. So if you make a specification of one material, you will get the correct material. If you just make the 316L, you can get garbage because it's possible to have it. It's fulfilling the 316L, and that's not the correct one to use in this kind of facilities.
So it's basically like if you're baking a cake and you're either following a recipe, exactly what you're going to do, or you do the 316L that is something like this. Right. You're getting the something like this in water, something like this in wheat or something. Yeah.
Well, in Germany they have something called V4A or V4A, which is even broader.
Yeah.
That is huge.
And then,
it can be everything.
And so if we have a supplier that says, well, we offer we don't want that.
Yeah.
We want 316 Ti, for instance. And otherwise, okay. But it seemed like that was actually the background of my question, that it's more not a cultural thing, but like almost like people love stainless steel here more than they do go south. But that's
we are a iron country.
Yes,
we are really an iron country. We have 2.5 billion euros a year in income to the government just from our mine up in Kiruna.
But the architectural thing is also something you need to look at. So if you are bringing a Cobra, for example, it's really, when you're getting it in a stainless steel, you're getting it really thin, you can get it really narrow, so you're getting the Scandinavian touch of it. So the architects are more used to work with that kind of product instead of maybe getting a carbon fiber that's maybe getting a little bit more volume, getting a little bit another shape, and so on. So it's the structural part of the stainless steel you can do a little bit different comparison to something else, and the architectural part is used to work with that.
But we don't like it in pools. We don't want the pools to be in stainless steel.
No. I'm talking about the attractions and water features. And, so, is there anything, we've covered a lot of topics, very interesting, I must say. And is there, do you have more questions, Angela?
No, but I have learned a lot, and we always ask us, what have we learned?
Today.
And I have learned, I mean, that you actually go to the sauna and go to Germany, which I found that most surprising. But I have learned a lot of things also, to be honest, from the history and how it has developed, how you start from the scratch until you really hand over and cut the ribbon, and how the whole process of this consulting is going. And it was for me a very interesting talk.
Yes,
and
yes.
I really
for me as well.
Thank you.
Is
Thank
there
you.
anything one of you would like to add?
The reason the company exists is because I'm crazy. And you don't find any other consultant company who have the majority of the people working there working with pools. They work with family houses, they work with schools, they work with shops, industry, whatever, and some of them is working with pools. I think that 80% of the 39 employees here is working daily and solely with pools.
Right. Yeah, that's what I understood.
You're
That is
really dedicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's because I'm crazy, because I believe the deeper you can go into a question, the better you can be and you can give away. My father, for example, was the inventor of three-point safety belt. And he was asked up to the manager of Volvo when he had made that invention in 1957. Nils, what do you want to have for this? Nothing. I have been doing my job. And I believe that is a bit of the culture I've been raised with. So what we do normally is giving away information before we earn money. And that means we don't earn so much money.
Yeah, but it's a hard question to make the hardest building for the municipality. So you can't do everything. You need to look at something, and here we look at bathhouses.
okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And I will end with you can write us with any comments or questions at mail@swimmingpool-podcast.com. Goodbye.
Danke.
Gracias.
谢谢.
Merci. Dankjewel.
Spasiba.
Hej
Tack
då.
så mycket. Hej då.
And hey do.
Hej då.
Hey. How to say?
Hej
Hej
då.
då.
Hey do.
Swimming Pool International, the Swimming Pool Podcast.